Kowalsky here. It's Wednesday again, and I just had to redo the video. It's awesome. Okay, but that's besides the point. Now we're just having a look at the rematch of the World Chess Championship between Mikhail Chigorin and William Steinitz, actually. And this was played in 1892, and we know the game that was played, the match that was played in 1889. So that match had Steinitz as a winner, and Chigorin gets another title shot after Steinitz successfully defends against Gunsberg. Now this match actually has a lot of drama to it, and I'm just gonna cut straight to the cheese so that we can see the full action. Now this is game number 1, and it starts on a high note. We have Chigorin with the white pieces, and he plays a very well-known opening, and he plays this opening, which is called obviously the Evans Gambit. He has played this in the previous match as well. But Steinitz, he changed his setup. He plays d6. He doesn't play this knight h6, queen f6 anymore. He plays this d6, and we have bishop to g4. So this is actually something that's played today as well after this trade. Now there have been the move knight to e5, which you might say that it loses the knight, but it doesn't, because of a6, and black is actually better in this variation because bishop a4, now b5, and here you're forced to take, and in this position, let's say queen takes on a4, bishop takes on f3, g takes on f3, and only now bishop back to b6. Black is better here, but Steinitz, obviously he didn't know about all of this. But so instead he played bishop to d7, allowing his knight to move and setting up a bishop trade. So we have now just bishop to b2. Chigorin nicely develops. We trade bishops, and now knight to a3. So we have seen this move occur, this maneuver, knight to a3, knight to c4, trying to get the bishop, and in doing so, getting some very nice initiative. So knight to h6, now knight to c4, bishop back to b6, and now this bishop is not so valuable, but you would like to win it. So a4, and this poses a lot of problems for Steinitz. So he lost a little bit of time with this knight h6 move, and now he's forced to play c6. And this move c6, you can see how Steinitz's king is in the center. This move c6 weakens the d6 square greatly. And no, we don't have a knight sacrifice yet, but we do have e5, a huge attempt at opening up the center. And here Steinitz had to take the pawn. This would have been the right way to go, but maybe he didn't like something about this endgame. Or let's say castles, and maybe he just didn't like the knight going here, maybe the bishop and all of this pressure. So instead he goes d5, trying to close the position, but in doing so he allows this very nice check. And Chigorin is not gonna allow Steinitz to breathe. He sets up this bishop pin here on the knight, so Steinitz slides out of the way, but Chigorin is just not gonna let him sit there. Rook to b1, and now after Steinitz tries to activate desperately the knights, here comes the kill shot. Knight takes on f7, and now the follow-up is crucial. You cannot just play a lazy move like check and allow the king to go back and just claim here that you have 2 knights for the rook. It doesn't work like that. Steinitz is just gonna stabilize, and you're gonna lose the position as white. The only move here, and Chigorin finds it, e6. Now you're forced to take this pawn, otherwise you lose your queen, and you cannot take with the queen because you would get forked. So therefore king takes is forced. Knight to e5, now attacking the queen, and after the queen moves back, now rook e1, setting up all sorts of discoveries, king f6, and now queen to h5. And after this move g6, Chigorin manages to find a very nice win here. Bishop takes on e7, and if a knight takes on g7, this is actually lost pretty easily. Queen h4, and you're forced to play the move g5. But now knight g4, and you don't really have many squares here. you're forced to give up your queen. If you go king f7, it's actually forced mate, and it all starts very, very nicely here, like this. But you can already see 2 pieces, even 3, ready to go and attack a naked king. That's not gonna end well for the black pieces. So Steinitz tries king takes, but now double check, knight takes on g6, and this leads to a very beautiful mate. Chigorin picks up the rook because, you know, for safety measures, but just a couple of moves later he just ends the game here with rook takes on f5, and you know, basically you're forced to give up the queen, and here you cannot take the queen, but you wouldn't even want to do that. You can just check from behind and then pick up the queen like this. So Chigorin wins a very nice game 1, and he actually led throughout the match on numerous occasions, but I just have a very interesting game to show you from the beginning. The score is basically 1-0 in terms of wins, 2-1 in general. They drew games 2 and 3, and now this is game number 4. Steinitz having the white pieces now, and he plays e4, and we have, by today's standards, a Berlin defense, but I doubt they knew a lot of theory about that in 1892. You know, even considering that, Chigorin plays in very modern style. Actually, Topalov managed to beat Peter Svidler with this setup right here as black. And because black doesn't really have too many weaknesses. I mean, black, you know, just gonna get knight c5, push the bishop back, and now black has a completely equal position. Knight back to e6, and after the move h4, all you have to do is maybe play h6, maybe play knight f4, just activate your pieces, make sure you have every piece ready to go, and you just don't get lost in all the complications. But Chigorin kind of missed a little bit the position or the ideas. He played knight e7, and in doing so, right, he prepares a push in the center, but he greatly weakens his king side. And after this trade, Steinitz just gets to trade in the center, push the queen back, get his queen in the game, bishop to d7, and now bishop e3, and he's ready to castle long, and now he has this open file for attack. And Chigorin here, you know, his chance was to start an attack right now and then maybe get something going. He had to create instant counterplay, but he goes king h8. This move is just too slow. Long castles, and now rook a to e8. And with this move, rook a to e8, it just gives Steinitz a little bit of time to just find the key move. He goes for queen f1, which is alright. You know, queen d2 would have been definitely better. Maybe setting up some bishop h6, you know, just centralizing the queen, maybe setting up this push d4. But he goes for that in just a move. a5 by Chigorin, but now it's just too late. a5 here, again, kind of missed the idea of the whole position. Here, you know, maybe if h5 would have been played, this would have been a better try, but who plays this h5 move? I mean, today, yes, some players might play this, but this just seems very scary. You have a king on the end of this file and just a rook staring down, ready to eat everything in its path, but this would actually have been pretty fine for black and maybe even drawable. But a5, and now Steinitz just explodes the position with d4. You cannot play a4 really, because you're just gonna get d5, and after you're forced to move the queen, not there, but let's say you move the queen somewhere, let's say here, maybe on a6. Now you can trade queens, and that's basically the idea. If you go here now, just d takes on e6, right, the queen is exposed, so you're forced to take the pawn here. But after this trade, now bishop takes, rook takes, you cannot pick up the rook. This would be forced mate. We can take with the bishop. You can even sacrifice here. But that's actually what happens. So Chigorin tries to win some material now, maybe hoping for bishop takes on d4, rook f6, giving back the rook, because if this would have happened, now the position is actually equal, right? There's no more attack for Steinitz, the material is completely equal, and everything is just, you know, has calmed down, and this might be a draw, and I think that's what Chigorin tried to achieve. But even in this position, you're just completely winning for white. You just don't have to pick up the queen. You can just have have to activate your own queen. This pin is not going anywhere. It's not like the king is gonna move too soon to any other squares, but Steinitz just finds just the win. Rook takes on h7, and now this is actually forced mate. It's not even bishop takes on d4, it's bishop to h6 check. He brings out the king and now manages to get the king in a position where he can just play g4 mate, so a mate with a pawn, and Steinitz bounces back very nicely. And now we're just gonna skip forward a little bit, actually a lot, to game number 18. Now the match score at this point was like 10-9 for Chigorin. So this is basically a must-win game for Steinitz, and Chigorin just has to draw this game. I think that's where we're at, or we're that's where we're at. We're at 9-8, and Steinitz just proves with this like win on demand that he's not done. And the scores for the wins are actually 8-7 because they drew some games, and he plays just a massive game. We can see how the openings have changed. Knight f3, f5, we have a Dutch, and as early as move 6, right? I'm not just gonna cover some theory because this is just better for white. It's just insane. d6 and bishop g2. I like this solid setup that Steinitz went for, and we're gonna see in a moment how cramped Chigorin's position is gonna be. Knight to e5 now, very important. You don't trade, you don't leave the knight here, you go knight to d4. And I don't blame Steinitz for going for these positions. They are just very comfortable to play, and frankly, I like these positions a lot myself. It just leaves you with a lot of opportunities. Maybe you jump in the outpost, maybe you put pressure on this diagonal. You can do so many things. Knight to g6 now, and here just queen c2 attacking the f5 pawn. Knight to e8, just a forced defense, and this knight is just, there's no place for a knight on e8. And now f4, making sure this pawn stays here. And now bishop to f6, trying to activate, and you're gonna see Chigorin time and time again, you just being forced to do like just some very ugly attempts at activating his pieces. You can already see how bad the situation is, right? Going back with the other knight, white is just completely winning. You want to set up e4, but you just want to make sure that it's right. So here's the counterplay. Bishop takes on d4, bishop takes on d4, now c5, d takes on c6, bishop takes on c6, and now e4. But Steinitz is just too sound with it. Queen takes on d7, and now knight into d5. Knight takes, e takes, and now just push the bishop back. You move the rook up, the rook was attacked, and now Chigorin tries to get his knight back into the game. Rook to c3 attacks the knight, knight to a6, maybe knight b4 is a possibility, but do you have time for that? That's the big question. Now he just doubles up the rooks on the e file. Steinitz, and now he's ready to go rook to e7, and that would be devastating. So we have rook to e8 trying to stop that, but now just rook to e6 using that outpost that is created. And now you cannot trade because the pawn is just gonna be too strong, but that's where Chigorin goes wrong. He tries to play knight c7 thinking that he's attacking the rook, maybe forcing a trade, but in reality he's not forcing anything. Queen takes on f5, and Steinitz gladly gives up the exchange. But not only the exchange here, he gives he gets for this exchange after queen to e7 the bishop also. The queen doesn't have any squares from which she can guard the bishop, and Steinitz gets a very nice bishop pair for the rook. And the rest of the game is just a very nice conversion. He picks up the pawns, he makes sure the rook doesn't get in. He just drops back the queen. Now he can actually take this pawn. This check is not that scary, or not as scary as it seems, because e7 just wins on the spot. You cannot guard promotion and your rook and the check, and this queen is all misplaced. But Steinitz just wanted to be safe. He played rook to d1, now attacking the d6 pawn. You cannot pick up this e6 pawn because of bishop to d5, and then you would lose your queen. Your queen. Now he just gets out of the way, and he just completely destroys Chigorin in this match. Here he plays a very nice ending, rook e7, and now the cherry on the cake, queen takes on g7 check, and you cannot take with the king. You're forced to take with the rook, and e7 is just crushing. You're bringing in another queen, and it's actually forced mate in 6. Your king is just completely safe here. You're just winning. That's it. And then the game was tied, and so they had to play kind of like some tie breaks, and it became a match and a race for first to 10 wins. And at this point the wins are tied 8-8, and it's basically first to 2 wins. Steinitz proves himself once again, and I just spoiled the result. Yes, I know, but I have to do it. This is the final game, and it's now 9-8 wins for Steinitz, and Chigorin actually has the white pieces, and this game has a lot of drama to it. Chigorin, if he wins this, then the game, right, the match is tied, and then they have to go into another round of playoffs. It's gonna be 9-9, and he might have some chances there. But e45, f4, e takes on f4. Here Chigorin likes this open positions, and that's why we have a king's gambit here. Some not too insane of a variation. I mean, this has not been played at the top level, but it's kind of balanced, this whole opening. Knight to c3. Now we have castles, and now knight back to d1. So Chigorin wants to get this knight. D takes on e5. Now bishop takes on h5. But this getting this knight is not the right thing to do, because after g takes on f5, you don't want to do this. Now queen takes on d4, and you're just crushed. I mean, you're down 2 pawns, and this is not a position that you want to play against against nobody. You don't want to play this position, but especially against Steinitz. So he's forced to take here in the center, and now he trades the queens, and it's actually a pretty fine position as time progresses. And Chigorin activates his pieces, attacks the bishop, gets his knight active, now manages to pick up a pawn, and maybe he can hold this to a draw, and maybe even turn it in a win. Knight to d4, Steinitz just is basically protocol at this point. And here Steinitz plays a very dubious move. He plays h4, and this basically gives back the whole advantage. What he should okay, you didn't see anything, I just pressed the wrong key. What he should have done in this position is he should have just took the bishop. I mean, it's kind of like a no-brainer. You get the bishop for the knight. If h takes on g3, now you just get, for example, rook e5 attacking the knight. You're gonna double up the rooks. You're gonna go in. You're just gonna have a very nice and pleasant endgame. But with h4, now bishop d6 is possible, and now you don't have to give up the bishop as white. And now after knight to d4, I mean, I don't even know what Steinitz thought here. He just gave up a piece. Wait. Is Chigorin actually coming back? Did I just trick you here? Rook to c2, king g1, rook e to e2. And I mean, Chigorin is just up a piece. All he has to do is defend. Rook to e1. And this is not losing here because the bishop is protecting the pawn. I mean, that's very important. Without this bishop, it would be mate. We have this exact variation, but now king to g7. And I mean, wait, is Chigorin just gonna win the championship all along? Rook to e8, getting the rook in f5 now. Steinitz is a little bit desperate. Knight to e6 check, king to f6, hold on a little bit. Rook to e7, you have to keep everything together. The rook was attacked. Rook to g2, rook g to e2, I mean, d5, protecting the knight. Rook c to d2, bishop to b4, attacking the rook. And now, I mean, you know, if you move the rook, I mean, you gotta be careful. All sorts of checks are possible, but not too fast because the rook would be hanging. But, you know, just bishop to d6. Wait, why bishop to d6? And that's where the drama happens. So after this rook c to d2, they have reached a time where they could you know, seal the move and adjourn it for the next day. And instead of sealing the move, Chigorin was so confident in his move that he didn't want to seal it. He just played it on the board. And you know, when the game resumed, that's when it hit them. I mean, Chigorin and his team. I think he had a team, maybe he didn't. But here, I mean, you're just winning. You just have to take the pawn. This is not a big threat because just knight f4 and you fork. Here, you know, let's say you do a desperado. You're up a piece. You're winning, and you're winning, and you're gonna bounce back in the match. I mean, Steinitz just made a horrible blunder with that move, knight to d4. I mean, you know, he thought he was just winning here, but in fact he wasn't. I mean, he overlooked something here, and then all of a sudden, here you're just winning for a whole lot of time, and now you just lose. You just lose. It's made in two. Why? The bishop was protecting this pawn, and that was a crucial piece. Rook takes on h2 and Chigorin resigns and he loses the match. What a crazy turn of events. What a crazy turn of events. I mean, it's just king g1 and mate. I mean, you know, maybe it was time pressure, but wow. I mean, what a crazy ending to this match. And here, even if you play a move like knight to f4 doesn't work still. This is not mate because you cannot go here, but this would be bad. Rook takes on e7, just wins back the piece, so you cannot move the knight. But any move, I mean, rook takes on b7 and you're just winning. Like, I don't understand. Bishop to b4 and you just lost it like that. You just lost the World Chess Championship match like that. Now this was very, very close. We gotta credit Chigorin on that. It was actually 12.5 to 10.5, so he actually got over the limit, but that's because they extended the match, obviously. But Steinitz is just a monster. I mean, Steinitz is just a monster. Winning on demand, winning the games, and I think it was just out of pressure and nerves on Chigorin's side. So that was it. Not making the video any longer. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I see you on to the next one. Kowalsky out.